from Kirsty O'Callaghan, who's Head of Strengthening Communities at the County Council, in just a moment. And we've also got John Morter, the moderator and founder of the South Woodham Ferrers Group, in the studio with us too. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. So, John, what made you start the group then?
Wow, a good question. So this was about 2007, and there just wasn't any sort of online forum at all for the town of South Woodham Ferrers, which I'd been living in for quite a few years at the time. So I was playing around with this new thing called Facebook at the time, and I thought, well, I'll start a group. That's pretty much it, really. That's kind of how it started, and it went from just me and a few people and a dog to 30,000 people now. You know, crazy.
Is that more than the population of South Woodham Ferrers? 30,000.
Very, very wide. Yeah, it is indeed. Yes, we've got a
Wow.
lot of expats. Bear in mind, this group's been going for about 11 years now. So we've got a lot of people that have lived in Woodham over the years, people that have worked there, people that have lived nearby. And they've all accumulated, you know, and they've all stuck around, which is quite nice.
So what do people who are part of your group get out of being in the group?
Well, I think the main thing, hopefully, I think they get out of it is a sense of community, and that we are kind of there to help each other out. We're also there to assist. We've had things like lost dogs. We've had things like, silly, sometimes what people might seem as silly little things, but we don't have any sort of rules like that. It doesn't matter if it's a silly question, doesn't matter. Somebody out there, there's thousands of us, one of us will know the answer, you know. So there's been lots of really, really good things to come out of it.
What about monitoring the group? Because the thing that often comes up about social media is anyone can post anything about something or anyone at any time.
Yeah, and then I think what you have to bear in mind is that when you've got a group of thousands and thousands of people, you are going to get thousands and thousands of opinions. And so I think you have to just keep I'd like to say not necessarily a close eye, because that's really hard to do when you've got that many people there. But there's mechanisms on Facebook to help any admins. So if there's some hate speech, or there's some people proper nasty name calling, there's buttons where people can go, right, that needs to go straight to the admin, and then I will get that. I'll get a notification on my phone when I'm out in the middle of wherever, and it can be dealt with pretty quickly.
So it does actually happen, because quite often you see report this as spam and you think, well, I won't bother because nothing will happen, but the system does work.
Oh, it does indeed. Yeah, always. If there's anything that doesn't appeal to you or anything like that, yeah, click the report button, because the admin will get it straight away, and then it's up to them for them to deal with. And a lot of the situations where I have had to sort of step in, actually, I didn't see it first. It's someone else had pointed my direction towards it, if you like, and we got things dealt with quickly. So.
Someone's pressed the report button.
You were kind of involved in setting up a Facebook group quite early on, really, quite a few years ago. When you look now at the number of groups there are for any particular county, town, place, wherever it may be, how do you feel about how things are going with it in terms of community groups and pages now?
I'm quite positive about it. I think that all over the country, and here in Essex in particular, we've got loads of really, really good community Facebook groups, and I think because of the role that I've got now, that I kind of have, I've also had situations where we're in touch with other admins. So I'm actually quite good friends with the guys who run the Wickford page, for example, and we swap information a lot, which is really good. So if something happens in, say, Burnham on Crouch, the admin there, Andy, great guy, he might send me a message going, right, we've had a situation here, this is the car number plate, or whatever, and
does it take up a lot of your time, though, because it sounds like quite a full-on role?
It can be if you let it, but again, Facebook have got some really good tools and facilities for admins where it doesn't have to really take up a heck of a lot of time for you. It really doesn't. It's if you use the tools that they give you, it can integrate into what you're doing, and it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. Yeah.
Kirsty, let's bring you in, Head of Strengthening Communities at Essex County Council. So John's got a group there. 35,000 people in South Woodham Ferrers are on that group. That's probably more than follow, I would imagine, Essex County Council on Facebook. So what are you doing about the fact that these groups are growing and growing in popularity?
So we recognise that those Facebook admins are in fact our high value volunteers that reach a critical mass of people in our community. We want a different relationship with communities and want to listen more and think about how we can co-produce different projects and services together, and just to think a little bit more about, you know, what is it that they want to do. So for example, working with John, there's been some unfortunate incidents in South Woodham around the mental health space. So we thought, what could we do as a local authority? I know we can potentially offer mental health first aid training. So we did that with the South Woodham group to start with, so accredited training. We put an ask out on a Sunday afternoon, didn't we, John?
It was, wasn't it? It was I think Sunday evening
afternoon,
or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
160 people in that town signed up straight away to do that training in a local pub. And since then, we've tipped into 1,000 people through Facebook community groups that have been mental health first aid trained. So that's driving additional resilience into the community. We also launched a Facebook community chest with some of our admins, and the projects that have come back have been phenomenal. Everything from autism anti-bullying projects through to micro-volunteering, through to community defibs, through to a particular lady that started doing mental health training, got the bug, and then she crowdfunded for their own community hub in Whittam. So it's a different relationship for us, and it's where people go, and we recognise that as a local authority.
Is there a worry, though, that we do have sometimes misinformation and what's become a very well-known term in the last couple of years, fake news and things like that? And if you're sort of getting involved, how hard is that to manage that side of things?
So I don't attempt to, basically. For me, this is about the groups self-regulate. This is an opportunity for different groups and admins to work with us. They may choose to do that, they may not. It's not my role to try and control absolutely everything, because that's the role of the admin. So I step away from that. This is about Facebook for good, and this is about a different relationship with the local authority. So it isn't about Essex County Council controlling everything, because we just can't.
Shouldn't it be your job anyway to do all this stuff, rather than having to go through the Facebook groups?
So I think we need to actually think about how people want to be involved. We have a citizen survey at Essex County Council. 70% of people that respond to that have turned around and said, we want to be more engaged and involved in our community. We kind of don't know how. So a way and a channel and a platform for us to have that conversation is through those Facebook groups.
It's where the people are.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or hate it. In 2019, you know, Facebook groups in particular, there's some really good Twitter accounts out there. It's where the people are. It's where they are gathered now. So the brilliant thing that Essex County Council have recognised is that is what the case is. You know, and it's starting to reap the benefits now.
Yeah.
So you're looking at potentially giving funding to some of these pages. How can people find out more about that?
So we started a pilot project in the last year where community groups, Facebook groups, could poll their group and basically apply for up to £750 per group for a project that basically was aligned to some of our wellbeing priorities. So it might be around learning disabilities, mental health, whatever that might be. And it was literally answers on a postcard, a single form, returned to us, and we would process that funding, a small amount of monitoring, not lots, but we just needed to see that it was what the people on that group wanted to do. And the beauty of Facebook is it's transparent, you can poll and you know what's going on. So into the future, through our Community Initiatives Fund for the next 2 years, there will be a round of micro grants that will be specifically targeted at Facebook groups and Facebook admins. So any group that comes up with an idea can apply for up to £500 to do something in their own community, which I think is fantastic. Again, it's Essex County Council giving away power and understanding that we don't have all the answers. And actually, it's a way for people to think about us as a council differently, and think about being able to speak to us more openly, and for us to think about the role that they play in potentially co-producing services into the future.
The great thing about this as well is that you know, you get a lot of the us versus them when it comes to the local council, you know, whereas what this has been doing has actually been putting us all on the same side, and I've really noticed that in the opinions of people, and it's especially in Woodham, it's brilliant. So you know, we're going to try and make this as big as we can in Essex.